today I'm going to read you the introduction of Pawns in the Game. Introduction. What if I reveal surprises and shocks the reader? Please don't develop an inferiority complex, because I am frank to admit that although I have worked since 1911 trying to find out why the human race can't live in peace and enjoy the bounties of blessings God provides for our use and benefit in such abundance. It was 1950 before I penetrated the secret that the war and revolutions which scourge our lives and the chaotic conditions that prevail are nothing more or less than the effects of the continuing Luciferian conspiracy. It started in part of the universe we call heaven, when Lucifer challenged the right of God to exercise supreme authority. The Holy Scriptures tells us how the Luciferian conspiracy was transferred to this world in the Garden of Eden. Until I realized that our struggle is not with flesh and blood, but is with the spiritual forces of darkness who control all those in high places on earth. That's in Ephesians 6:12. The pieces of the evidence gathered all over this world just didn't fit together and make sense. And then in parentheses, I am not ashamed to admit that the Bible provided the key which enabled me to obtain the answer to the question quoted above. And that question is, why can't the human race live in peace and enjoy the bounties and blessing God provides for our use and benefit in such abundance? Very few people seem able to appreciate that Lucifer is the brightest and most intelligent of heavenly hosts, and because he is a pure spirit, he is indestructible. The scripture tells us his power is such that he caused 1/3 of the most intelligent of the heavenly hosts to defect from God and join him, because he claimed God's plan for the rule of the universe is weak and impractical, because it's based on the premise that a lesser being can be taught to know, love, wish to serve him voluntarily out of respect for his own infinite perfections. The Luciferian ideology states might is right. It claims being a proven superior intelligence, having the right to rule those less gifted because the masses don't know what is best for them. The Old Testament is simply the history of how Satan became the prince of the world and caused our first parents to defect from God. It relates how the synagogue of Satan is established on this earth. It tells us how it worked since to prevent God's plan for the rule of the universe being established on this earth. Christ came to an earth when the conspiracy reached the stage that, to use his own words, Satan controlled all those in high places. He exposed the synagogue of Satan. He denounced those who belonged to it as the sons of the devil, and whom he cascaded as the father of lies and the prince of deceit. He was specific in his statement that those who compromised the synagogue of Satan were those who called themselves Jews but were not, and did lie. He identified the money changers, bankers, the scribes, and the Pharisees as the Illuminati of his day. What so many people seem to forget is the fact that Christ came on earth to release us from the bonds of Satan, which we were being bound tighter and tighter as the years rolled by. Christ gave us a solution to our problem when he told us we must go forth and teach the truth regarding this conspiracy. John 8:31-59. And to all the people of all the nations. He promised that if we did this, knowledge of the truth would set us free. Matthew 28:19. The Luciferian conspiracy has developed until it is at its semi-final stage. Matthew 24:15-34. Simply because we have failed to put the mandate of Christ gave us into effect. In 1784, the Act of God placed the Bavarian government in position of evidence which provided the existence of the continuing Luciferian conspiracy. Adam Weishaupt, a Jesuit-trained professor and the canon of law, defected from Christianity and embraced the Luciferian ideology. While teaching it to the Ingolstadt University, in 1777, the money leaders who had recently organized House of Rothschild retained him to revise the age-old protocols designed to give the synagogue of Satan the ultimate world dominion so they can impose the Luciferian ideology upon what remains of the human race after the final social cataclysm by uses of the satanic disposition. Weishaupt completed his task May 1st of 1776. That is what we talked about yesterday on the back of the dollar bill. The plan required the destruction of all existing governments and religions. The objective was to be reached by dividing the masses, Democrat, Republican, which he termed Goyim, You ever heard that guy talk about the Goyim before? If you haven't, he talks about McDonald's and what they do with those food there. Yeah. Meaning human cattle. So Goyim means human cattle. Into opposing camps in the ever-increasing number of political, racial, social, economical, and other issues. Sound familiar? This is in 1776. They're planning this. Okay, here we are, 2024, and still biting that bit. As I proved yesterday just by posting my video of what God's plans are. And people want to fight, oh, I know God's plans better than God knows his plans. I'm not here to tell God what his plans are. I'm here to be obedient to what they are. And yes, I believe every prophet is the truth. No. But do I believe the prophet I shared yesterday is? Yes, I do. And I feel like I have pretty good discernment on things like that. And the reason, this is the number one thing people need to ask themselves with anything. What benefit are they getting out of it? Are they rich? Are they having crusades after their names? You know what I mean? Just same thing with Trump. Like, what's he getting out of this? If he is all these bad things, what's he getting out of being persecuted for the last 8 years? Why wouldn't he just stay doing The Apprentice? I mean, we got to start asking ourselves these questions instead of believing everything everybody tells us. Ask yourself questions. Don't believe anything I say. Don't believe anything anybody says. Question everything, though. You know what I mean? And then the more you learn, the less you learn. It's just the way it is. So anyways, 1776, this plan comes, and the plan is very organized and written out. And we're about to learn about it if you care to. So we already got, the division of people. That's very easy to do. So the opposing sides were to be armed with an incident provided which would cause them to fight the weak and weaken themselves and destroy national governments and religious institutions. In 1776, Weishaupt organized the Illuminati to put the plot into execution. The world's Illuminati is derived from Lucifer, and it means holders of the light. Using the lie that his objective was to bring about the one world government to enable men with proven mental ability to govern the world. He recruited about 2,000 followers. These included the most intelligent men in the field of arts, letters, education, science, finances, and industry. He then established lodges of the Grand Orient to be their secret headquarters. Shall we continue on? You let me know.
The future of our country and indeed our civilization is at stake on November 3rd. I'm the only thing standing between the American dream and total anarchy, madness, and chaos, and that's what it is. I'm representing you. I'm just here. And I'm not sure it's an enviable position, but that's what it is.
Lampe, Missouri was a place where I heard George Bush and Bill Clinton talking. Where, from the point of view I had, they certainly were friends, and they didn't recognize any party lines between them. That's something for the, a smoke and mirrors illusion for the public. It's not something they adhere to because they had exactly the same agenda, and that was for bringing in this new world order. I heard George Bush talking at that time. He was talking to Bill Clinton, and I've since photographically recorded it and wrote it verbatim in our book. That when the American people became disillusioned with Republicans leading them into the New World Order, that Bill Clinton, as a Democrat, was going to be put into the office of president. This was decided in 1984. Actually, I'd heard about it even prior to that. But that, as of 1984, they were already discussing it as an absolute fact. It was also discussed in the groundwork for NAFTA that by the time George Bush went into the office of president, that Salinas was going to become president of Mexico, and they together would be bringing in the NAFTA, which was the beginning of New World Order controls.
Where we're in a New World Order, and I'd like to know what the candidates feel our position is in this New World Order and what our responsibilities are as a superpower.
Mr. President?
Well, we have come to that position since I